Welcome everybody to TT's Intuitive Minds Already Know Wednesday Night Live. I apologize for not being here last night. It's Thursday and this is what happens. I just, I kind of like shoot from the hip lately and kind of gauge where I'm feeling my safety in my energy field lately because it's been testing me a lot. But I'm here. It's Thursday. You are here. We've got an awesome topic. I'm going to turn down the lights. I think I've got one bulb that is not happy. So we're just going to have to get all kind of cozy here. I hope this is not too dark. I do have the flash on. So welcome. If you saw the Facebook post, it is about two kind of topics. One is going to get us to the second topic. So the main topic is all about burnout. Hello, Carrie. Keep watching. It's about burnout. And it can be misdiagnosed. It can be mistreated. It can be ignored. And be not taken seriously. A lot of people think that, burnout is, I'm just tired, or I'm exercising too much, or I'm working too much, or I've got too much stress. No, it goes so much deeper than that. And then we're also going to talk about intuitive pathways. That is a new term that Spirit gave me today, and I had to have some help kind of channeling and sorting out all my words. So stay with us, folks. We have 640 members on the Intuitive Minds Already Know Facebook page. I want to get to 1,000 this year. So spread the news. You cannot share the group, but you can share the information. You can say, hey, this really awesome chick on Facebook talks about all the shit that she goes through, and there's a lot of us going through all that, and so she's really cool. So ask to be invited, ask to be my friend, and accept the invites if you do get invited, and watch when I'm on live. I've been kind of MIA. Sorry for that, but I've been so busy trying to ramp up some really cool things to sell. So like these are the silicone keychain bracelets, and I will be at Crush Nutrition in Bloomer, Wisconsin tomorrow night for Galentine's Day. The Bloomer Floral champions it, and there'll be other businesses that are involved, and you can come sign up for raffles and the camaraderie and just come and visit. You get like free stuff if you visit all the different tables. So it's just a nice social event to kind of like share the love and to get you out of your pajamas and get you out of the house. And it's a Friday night and it's only a couple hours, so you'll be home before you know it. Those are the current events. So let's get right into the topic of burnout. As always, I like to branch out into all my topics about mental, physical, and spiritual, because we are all those things. And when I first said the word burnout, I want you to comment on here, or just think in your head, but please comment, because I want this to be a safe space. I want us to interact. I want to know what you guys are thinking. I want to know what you guys are feeling. Chances are what I'm experiencing, there is someone out there that is going through the same damn thing, and that is my passion. I want to bring the knowledge and the wisdom that I've learned through experience and perspective, and just being exposed to my intuitive pathways, and bring it all to you so that you can kind of absorb whatever is drawn to you, even if it's just one thing, even if it's just one word that I say or one phrase, or just sitting here absorbing the energy. You just have to kind of let yourself be drawn to what your body needs, okay? By watching this. Burnout affects us on 3 levels: mentally, physically, spiritually, and we're going to go through all of them. I'm going to talk fast, so get a pen and paper, because I'm going to ramble a lot of stuff. It's going to help, but I want to get it all in an hour. From a science perspective, burnout is chronic unresolved stress. And if you are continuously, the word that's coming to my head right now is like loop. And from my experience, for whatever reason, the universe, my hormones, myself, I had blocks, whatever. I was supposed to have this block. I was supposed to experience this on Earth. Hello, Kelly. Keep watching. Was to go through these loops. And when I mean loop, I was experiencing feelings, the same thing pretty much every day. And then thoughts, I had ruminating thoughts. So not only was I going through different experiences and reliving the same emotions every day, like freaking Groundhog Day, the movie, but like ruminating thoughts and just ruminating the past and ruminating, you know, the present and the future. And it was just, you can't live there. You have to be in the present. So cortisol stays elevated. And when you are in menopause, I'm going to talk about this because I think it's super, super important that you find out that, yes, you might be going through a spiritual journey. You might be going through some detoxing. You might be going through some healing. And you might be going through all this hormonally. That does affect the way that your cortisol levels are regulated. So just don't think that you are going through some spiritual shit or you're detoxing or whatever you're doing in your life, because you have to look at all the facets, okay? And that's where our medical field comes up short, because they don't look at all the facets that are going on in your life. Cortisol levels stay elevated because the nervous system stays activated. It's always in like hypervigilance, hyper focus, hyper fight or flight. And from my experience, it was detrimental. I did this to I allowed myself, I say that now, I allowed myself for putting myself through this for years. And if you follow me and you'll watch me, you'll understand and you'll hear me talk about just all the things that I was out of control. I was going through so much hormonally, so much spiritually, and I don't really know what started it. If it was just the universe telling me, okay, she's ready. She's ready. She's been ready. She's a star seed. She's ready. Or if it was me going, yep, I feel like I'm missing something in my life and I'm going to go down this spiritual journey. Or if it was menopause going, yep, we're just going to give everything to her at once and she's going to figure it out and she's going to champion it, because that's who she is. I can't really say what started everything, but there was a lot of things going on at that time that just kept feeding that fire. And for me, I'm stubborn and I just want to go, and I want to fix things. And so I think the universe was like, let's make this as brutally uncomfortable as it possibly can for her, so that she has no choice but to sit down and go, okay, I don't feel so good. I don't feel good in my body. I don't want to be here anymore as a human. And so like that kind of puts the brakes on it when you start having those TMI, trigger warning, those like suicidal thoughts of like, I don't know what else to do. I'm so miserable with my life and how I feel. I don't know how to get out of it, that I just want to end it. Now, I never planned it, but that's what I felt in my body. I just wanted to disappear and go somewhere else and have like a new identity and a new life, new body, new essence. I just wanted to like leave all this behind. From a spiritual perspective, burnout is disconnection. And that's really sad when that happens, because I had just kind of got like super absorbed into my spiritual journey. And so like, and I was feeling like so awesome. Like I was doing like really cool readings and like I was spot on with my intuition. And then all of a sudden it was just like, and it was like, okay, where did it go? Like, what is going on here? And it really saddened me because I had a hard time tapping into that intuition. No, it didn't leave. It just kind of took a back seat because my body knew that there was something else that I needed to heal from. Mental burnout shows up as brain fog, poor concentration, forgetfulness, irritability, loss of creativity, feeling emotionally flat. Another thing burnout does for me is, and I just wrote this down when I was channeling today, you start questioning everything, but nothing seems to make sense. Things that never bothered you throw you into anxiety spirals, and boundaries that you used to put in place, you just are passive and you ignore them. And that's what kind of happened to me. It was like, why after so many years of living with my husband does this bother me now? Like, is he changing? Did he all of a sudden do something? And it was like, for me, it was just like the paranoia was just like out of control. And I was questioning everything. And it affected our relationship. Lots of burnout symptoms. I talked about this earlier. Lots of burnout symptoms are the same as premenopause symptoms. So both need to be given the attention, but hormones affect the cortisol. Cortisol affects your adrenals, and everything is just you're going to think that it's this, anyway, treating it for this, but really you should be treating it, you should be looking at all the facets because you need all of that balanced in order to balance everything. Does that make sense? Like, we need to eat good. We need to eat good so that we can get better sleep. And if we have better sleep, we can have better cortisol levels. And if we exercise, well, we need better food in order to exercise. And we need exercise to balance the cortisol. And like, everything that is good for you for a reason, because it helps all those other facets. And when you're doing the best that you can, trying to balance all those facets, then you kind of feel good again. And that's kind of like where I am. I'm not feeling great, but I am feeling good. I'm feeling a lot better than I was a year ago or 6 months ago. Okay, so physical burnout can show up as exhaustion that the sleep cannot fix. This I experienced, and to the point where I just couldn't stop my brain. And I was so tired that in the beginning, I just couldn't work out anymore. I just didn't have the drive. I just didn't have the ambition. And I think there was so much stress just weighing heavy, and so much like shadow work that I wasn't, working on, that it was just heavy. Like, I just felt like every joint in my body was just like cracking and breaking. It just felt like there was so much weight on my body. Muscle tension, headaches, gut issues, sleep disruption, and getting sick more often. So a lot of the times burnout can affect your antibodies and your what's the word? Yeah, your antibodies, but your there's another word for it. I'm lost. It's how to stay healthy, how to not get colds and to, not get sick so often. A way that helps a physical burnout is to, when we are in burnout, it's because our body has absorbed too much of toxic energy. And you have to get that out, because it's just going to collect in your body, and it's going to cause dis-ease. And somatic exercise is really good for that, because it focuses on getting to that energy. So like breathing exercises while you just lay there. It doesn't seem like you're doing much, but if you are a go and you don't get enough exercise, then just sitting and laying down and then just breathing and allowing like fresh breath to go through your body and to actually sit in your lungs longer than we normally breathe for. Because I know, like, you're supposed to breathe more longer, and you're supposed to like chew your food longer. But like we need to allow that oxygen to come into our lungs and sit there. And then let it kind of go into the capillaries and into the tissue and into the blood, and then let it out. So it's kind of like taking a bath. They're showing me like, explain it like taking a bath, where when you sit there in the water, you sit there for a while. Where a shower, you're just kind of like in and out, you know? But when you're taking a bath, you have to kind of sit there and just like feel the water, let it kind of, you know, you put it all over your body and you sit there and you enjoy it. You enjoy the bath. So work on your breath, work on breathing longer, hold it longer, take longer to actually breathe it in, hold it longer, and then take longer to actually exhale it. It sounds so kind of like, oh, it's just breathing, but we don't breathe the way that our bodies and our lungs are designed, because we just have conditioned ourselves to like go, go, go. Okay, so here I'm going to talk about the vagus nerve, and that's how to regulate your parasympathetic nervous system. Now, the vagus nerve is the nerve that goes from the brainstem down the face, throat, heart, lungs, and digestive organs. So if you think about it, it kind of runs through all the meridians like the chakras do. So it makes sense that somatic exercise would help with your chakras. It's a communication pathway between your brain and your body. And its job, I did not know this until I looked it up, its job is to regulate heart rate, breathing, digestion, inflammation, and emotional calm. It's the primary nerve of the parasympathetic nervous system, your rest and digest system. When the vagus nerve is activated, your body shifts out of survival mode and into safety. So when we say activated, that's not really like a bad thing. Our vagus nerves are not activated enough. So what I want to do right now is, I learned this when I was experiencing very, very high anxiety, and I would wake up with it. I would go to sleep with it. I would wake up in the middle of the night with it. And this was when I didn't want to be on medication anymore. So we're going to do, it's called like, what is it called? I have to just look at this a minute. It's called, there's so much more, and I can post this. The eye positioning. Yes. The eye positioning. Okay. This is cool because I learned this just by watching a YouTube video. Okay. So we're going to do it now. Okay. So get in you can just sit here. Okay. And so what you're going to do is, I'm just going to put my hands on, I'm sitting, so I'm just going to put my hands on my upper thigh by my knee. I'm just going to I'm going to think about my vagus nerve. Okay. So think about this vagus nerve, think about all the meridians, just think about this line in your spine. Okay. And we're going to activate it. And so what I learned is, think of like a tension in your body. And now so they said, turn your neck one way and then turn it the other way. And you should have a little tightening in one side more than the other. Okay. And just do this a little bit. Okay. We're going to do it to the left and do it to the right. Now mine is to the left, and it kind of pulls when I start to kind of look farther back. Now this way I can move it more. Okay. So mine is left. So what you're going to do is we're going to count to 30 in your head, and whatever side of your neck is tighter, you are going to look to the opposite side, okay? So, and you're not going to turn your head, but you're just going to have your eyes fixated on the opposite side. So mine is left. I'm going to focus my eyes. Do not lose focus. This takes a while. Your eyes just don't want to do it. You know, your body is always moving your eyeballs. All right. So like the natural response is to move your eyeballs, but just try. Okay. Just try to do your best and just try to focus on something fixated on something as far right as you can, or whatever, the opposite side of, okay? But don't move your head, all right? So I'm going to focus on something. Okay, I've got a focal point, okay? All right, go. Okay, that was 30 seconds. All right, now try it. Oh shit! I can like turn it all the way around, you guys. Isn't that awesome? Like I can turn, it does not, it literally does not pull. Isn't that cool? That is the coolest, cheapest, fastest, easiest way. And I can, when I was like kind of focusing, I'm like, I gotta do this because my viewers are watching. I gotta pay attention. I gotta do this, you know? And I could actually feel like my shoulders kind of drop. And I could actually kind of feel like some calmness kind of like just drop in. All right, comment on here if that worked for you. If you did it, we just activated our vagus nerve, baby. Go, baby. Go Vegas, baby. All right, that is so cool. How's everybody feel about that? I'm just going to read a little bit more about... Oh, okay, so why the vagus nerve is so important. When it's functioning well, you recover from stress faster, you feel emotionally stable, you sleep better, digestion is better, you think more clearly, and you can communicate more calmly. When it's underactive, anxiety increases, burnout deepens, inflammation rises, and emotionally reactivity. So like you're triggered. Oh my God, I was the last couple years. I think me and my husband, we were just like triggering the fuck out of each other. And if you do that day after day after day after day after day, it can really wreak havoc on everything about each other. And what we did this last year is we took a separation. We actually talked about divorce because it had gotten to where it was that bad, where we just thought it's got to be better without each other. And then we were separated from May to September, October. And then, long story, but this, the powers that be, we obviously had enough space between us, and we healed some things and realized some things and chose some things. And now we are choosing to be back together and deal with our shit and be 100% honest and no holds barred. And we're relearning how to relearn each other. And it's interesting because it's just so, the dynamic is so different, and we know each other. Like, we've been together for over 25 years. We're going to have our 25th this year. And it's different. It's really, really different when you go through a separation of any time, and just try being away from your spouse, or for, your kids for a week, and, do that. I highly recommend some kind of separation. If you start to feel, don't wait 3-4 years like we did, but, now I have the wisdom. Now I have the wisdom and the knowledge and the experience and the perspective and the perception to teach it, don't do what I do, and I had to go through the hard shit. And now I can tell you, hey, do what I do, but you might not have the outcome that I did, but I'm going to guarantee that if you listen to me and you're going through this, I can help you kind of navigate through it and reach out if that's what's happening in your life or in your marriage. Okay. It says, explain why this is important. You take full responsibility to learn this on your own. So what happened to me is, I was so in fight or flight that I had no idea what emotions I was supposed to be responsible for. He was projecting, I was projecting, we were triggering each other. And so I constantly was expecting him to fix this for me. And so what my advice would be now is, if you are unhappy specifically with your spouse or your job or a certain situation in your life, the first thing to do, no matter how hard it is, to gain the awareness that it is your responsibility to do your part. It is, you only have control over what you can control. And you have to ask yourself those hard questions. What am I willing to tolerate? What can't I tolerate? What do I need? What needs improving, or what can I do? What can I do more of or less of so that I can feel better about this in my life? And essentially, it's all about what we can do. And I was putting way too much expectations on my spouse to fix this, because I didn't have any of it. I didn't have the knowledge. I didn't have the wisdom. I thought I had all the spiritual backup, but I did not. And so I learned how important it is that I don't need to express every thought that I have, and to tell my husband everything that I think he's doing wrong or that he's pissing me off. I have to deal with that myself, because I found out that 95% of the things that irritated me about him had nothing to do with him. It was somebody else, something else. It was something that I wasn't admitting to myself. So let that sit. So we talked about that. I'm going to move on from the vagus nerve, because we just did the reset. Okay. If you want more information on that, you can Google it, but we just did that. And we just did that eye test thing, that eye exercise. And you can do that anywhere. And that is awesome if you're kind of in the middle of a panic attack, because it is immediate, and you have to really focus on your breath and just staring at something. And when you're staring at something, you know that you have to stare at that, and you know you have to count. So by default, your mind is just going to fixate on that. And because you're doing something good for your body, hopefully your body, if you're not so much panicky, if you can actually just kind of sit. Sometimes I realize that's hard, but if you can just sit, and if you need someone to help you count down, and to have them watch your eyes and have them guide you, nope, keep staring at that, look over there. It's such an easy way to kind of bring that mind back to the body, and the body back to the mind. Okay, so we talked about physical burnout. We talked about mental burnout. Let's talk about spiritual burnout. So this is the one I feel that gets kind of skipped over when we talk about burnout. It feels like disconnection from your purpose. You feel like you don't know what the heck you're even doing, breathing and being on this earth. You don't even want to go to work anymore. You don't want to be a mom. You don't want to be a wife. Your hobbies are no longer important to you. Showering is totally, it's out the window. Eating is, kind of an option. And just all those essential things that keep our body, moving along in, to get through, functioning through the basic things that we do, eating, sleeping, drinking, taking a shower, loss of meaning, numbness to joy, feeling like you're just going through the motions, chronic overgiving or people pleasing. And I wrote down very robotic or on autopilot. This is where you can get lost in your routine. It turns into mundane without awareness. So what happened to me is I got so depleted and so exhausted that I just had barely enough energy to get up in the morning, get dressed, throw together some food for the day, and then make it to work, and then enough energy to like make it through my work day. And I didn't have kids. My kids are old, so I can't imagine what a mom and a wife, especially if she works out of the home, even if she doesn't work out of the home, but a mom, a wife, and having a full-time job, I can't imagine what kind of burnout symptoms that person, not just a woman, but a man too, like a husband with kids and responsibilities. I can't imagine what that's like for someone, you know? Okay. Spiritual burnout is living out of obligation instead of truth. Oh yeah, it's like on autopilot, and you just kind of like go through the motions, and nothing brings you joy, nothing makes sense, nothing makes you mad. You're just kind of numb because you're just surviving. You're not thriving. You're not, bringing any purpose and any joy to your life. You're just, And why do we go through burnout? Maybe that's what I kind of need to talk about, is why do we allow ourselves to get that way? And I think that's important that we talk about, like, the people pleasing and the overgiving. And that's why I think it's very important that we talk about self-care. And that's what we'll get to next. So before I get too far in, I do want to talk about the spiritual burnout. Let's do this. Okay. You feel detached from your life. You're functioning but not present, and everything feels like effort. That's not laziness, that's depletion. Let's see, spiritual burnout for me, like I said before, like I didn't want to do lives. Even for a while, I didn't even want to like be in my craft room. Because that's like my zen place. And I just didn't want anything to do with, it's weird because like, I just didn't have the drive to do anything that would make me feel better. It's counterintuitive, but I think when you get so far gone and you're just at that like super crappy rock bottom state that maybe the universe is like knowing like, okay, she's there, she's rock bottom. We're just going to let her sit there for a while and get real super uncomfortable, And I think maybe that's what I had to do. And I think that's kind of what happens. And hopefully that a lot of people that experience burnout, they get uncomfortable, And I think the universe, that's its twisted goal, is to get us to feel, kind of super uncomfortable so that there's movement, because there isn't change when you're just kind of sitting still. Change is when there's movement and momentum and motivation. Okay, healing the burnout. We are at a half hour, so let's talk about healing, because I do want to pull cards. Healing starts with regulation, not productivity. You don't need to do more. You don't need to practice more. You don't need to study more. You don't need to do more. You don't need to exercise more. You don't need to like people please more. Sometimes just putting the brakes on and going, you know what? I'm not cooking. If you have a husband or you have a wife or a significant other, or you live with, somebody that cares about you, you can say, you know what? We're going to have to make dinner faster. We're going to have to make it easier because I need that time that I would normally cook. I just need that to either like lay down or just to read or take my bath or take a walk. So my advice, if you're starting to experience any of these symptoms, is to just get really honest with yourself and get honest with if you have a significant other or your children. You don't I realize that you don't want to sound weak and incapable, but if you can be honest with yourself and honest with your children, you don't have to go into details about what you're going through, but just tell them, mommy needs more time. Mommy needs space. And you need to respect that. Because what happens when our kids need space? You know, we let them have a nap, or we let them have their TV time, or we put them in their bath. This is, you know, just some of the things that I would do to kind of help my children regulate. We get them outside. We get them exercise. Now it's starting to get warmer, so like the kids are going to be getting stir crazy. So if you can teach them self-regulation now at an early age, you can start at any age. It's just the honest truth. And teach them that it's respect. It's respect to respect themselves and to respect the people that are in the house and in their family. Trust me. Trust me. Short-term repair, stabilizing the system. Slow the breathing, gentle movements instead of intense workout, time in nature. I realized how much sun, how if I don't have sun, like even on my face for like a couple minutes, or, you know, even if it's too cold, but you want to be in the sun, just go out and sit in your car and let the sun kind of beat in on the windows. I've done this a couple times when it was nice this winter, where I just went and got a blanket and I sat outside in my chair and I had my coffee and just let the sun kind of beat on me. I'm ready for those mornings. Reducing emotional overgiving. Put the brakes on. No is a full sentence. And that is self-care. Naming your emotions. Am I mad? Am I sad? Am I pissed off? Am I just depleted? Am I worried? Am I anxious? Am I nervous? You know, that is where I'm going to talk about exciting step for me, another milestone. You guys, I think I've been talking about this a while, but I just published a grace and gratitude journal. It has the cover. I made sure that I put from the Oracle card deck. So I'm going to bundle this for $40. I'm going to bundle this with the Oracle card deck. So it has a little description about like how I got into journaling and what grace and gratitude means. And then for every page, this is an 8.5 by 11. So it's big. And I made sure, like for our seasoned readers, that it's big enough so that you don't have to put your cheaters on. But like today I give myself grace for, and then I left space for you to answer that. Today I am grateful for. So 2 of those things are activating they put you in the present because they get you out of lack mindset. Those 2 things. Card of the day or message. So you can use the deck and you can pick a card and you can read the message, and then you can put down like some of the important things that resonated with you. And then the question of the day each one is different. And then this one is, what has the universe showed you today? There are questions inside the guidebook as well. So feel free to change that or, you know, add to it if you like. But I believe there's enough for 48 days. There's enough for 1 month. I'll just say that. So I took some time to gather kind of everything that I had gone through and finally putting this grace and gratitude journal, bring it to fruition. So it's been a goal of mine to kind of incorporate the journaling with the deck, and now it's here. So you will hear me talk about how important journaling is. So journaling is very important because there's science to it. When you write something down and you write your thoughts that are in your head, there's science in that the vibration of the frequency of doing that motion, doing that physical motion. You're putting the thoughts that are up here and you're bringing them to paper. So you are actually kind of giving them a space to breathe and a actual life here in the universe on the paper, because now they're not just up here. You have brought them to life, and now you can nurture them by putting them on paper and making them truth. So not saying that everything that you write down now is truth, because I feel a lot of journaling can be used for venting, and that's okay. I learned this, as long as when you're putting nasty thoughts on paper, as long as you have the intention that this is on purpose, this is for me to get them out. I don't want to scream or yell them or make someone feel bad about the thoughts that I'm having right now, because they're just thoughts and they're ruminating and they're not making me feel good and they're making me feel anxious and out of control. I need to get them out. So sometimes just not telling anybody them, but just getting them out on paper, that's all you need to do. I do this a lot because I just have so much overactive thoughts in my head about lots of different things. And chances are when I start writing them down, it's like, oh, I'm not mad at this. I'm mad at that. Or why am I mad at this? This is dumb. Like, and now I'm not mad anymore. So a lot of healing for me has come just from journaling. And there's science. Trust me. You don't believe me? Google it. Or go watch my video about journaling. Let's see. Okay, long term. Long term is rebuild differently. So how to regulate your sympathetic nervous system is you want to think differently. You want to act differently. You want to perceive things differently. You want to move differently. So change. You have to change something. Otherwise, you're going to keep feeling the same shit over and over and over. We talked about this in the beginning. It was like Groundhog Day. But try one thing. Don't try too much. Like I said in the beginning, I was going through a lot. And I just, I had, my dog died. My kid had just left for boot camp. So I was going through like empty nest kid, empty nest dog, and I was going through like menopause. So I was grieving my body. And I realized this about a couple weeks back. I just want to tell this story because this is really important, and this is probably going to be my next passion project that I work on, is the power of the womb energy. Google it. And I'll try to talk. I want to maybe do a video on this because I've just been physically and emotionally and spiritually so profound by this information that I have stumbled upon. So a couple weeks back, I was watching a Facebook video, and the lady talked about like the energy of the womb clearing. So I'm like, gosh, I'm a woman and I'm going through menopause, and I've got some things that are probably collected in there, emotionally, and from my past and how I treated my womb area, my female area. And I'm like, yeah, I think I'll go ahead and I'll do this clearing, So I thought, okay, maybe I'll feel better. And so I did it in the bathtub, and it was just, I just listened, and she kind of guides you through it, because you make a triangle like this, and you put this like over your womb, and she kind of guides you through of guided meditation of going inside your womb visually, mentally. And it was scary. It was very, very scary, and I got very scared, and I kind of wanted to like get out of the bathtub and stop the track, and I didn't, and I kept listening to her, and at the end I felt very empowered. I was no longer scared. I saw a lot of things. She kind of explains it like a cave, and it's so interesting. I think I have posted it. I will post it or share it here on the group. But go ahead and try it. And so now I'm just like, a lot of things have been kind of coming forward and coming to the surface, really intense. that I thought I had dealt with. And now I think some of the dust has settled and I am able to kind of appreciate my womb space and just me being a woman and kind of let some stuff go. I really, that was like another healing moment for me. It was so interesting. But that was something that I think I really needed to change. And I needed to get grounded in that, because that's like a birth center. If you deep dive womb energy, there's a lot of energy that we don't know about, that I didn't know about, and that we take advantage of and we take for granted, because that is where creation is created. Like there's just so much. I will have to do another video on womb clearing and womb energy, but if you are just as intrigued about it as I am, just let yourself go down the YouTube rabbit hole. Burnout often comes from chronic self-abandonment. Long-term healing includes boundary repair, so being able to say maybe yes more to doing things that you want to do, and saying no more to the things that are draining you and the things that you just, maybe you don't want to do that. I realize there are certain things that we have to do as moms and as employees and as spouses, but if we have that conversation with the important people in our lives, I guarantee that they will take some of the slack. Hopefully they will. And if that person doesn't take the slack, then take up the slack because you're hurting and you're getting depleted, then maybe that's a sign that, you need to think about how long term that person's going to benefit you. Because if not, then you need to find yourself and buckle up. And, I know it's not that easy when there's kids involved, but sometimes you have to look at, is that person really putting value into your life? Because it's you first. That person does not complete you. You have to complete yourself first. Emotional processing. Find a way to get that shit out without involving. I have really worked hard in my separation because I had to, and I didn't want to use friends. I didn't want to just be, I didn't want my friends to be my emotional garbage can. I wanted to truly find a way to deal with my intense, heavy emotions. And I did. I did a lot of crying. I did a lot of artwork. I did a lot of walking. I did a lot of channeling. I just walked and I talked. I spent a lot of time with my dog, talked to her. I did talk to friends. I had a counselor. I did a lot of journaling. So find your way. Get it out. And you don't have to always talk about what you're experiencing and you're feeling with that person that it may be about. Filter it. If you don't take anything away from tonight, you need to filter shit. Because sometimes when we start dealing with our shit and getting it out on paper and talking about it, either writing it down or talking about it to someone that's not involved, chances are a lot of it is about us. It's about our wounded inner child, and it's about, jealousy or hurt from what we didn't get as a child. And you know what? Bottom line, our parents probably did the best. There are intense situations where maybe they had substance abuse and they had a lot of trauma. So it's just karmic. It's just generation after generation. But what I learned is that chances are we're all just doing the best we can. 95% of us are just doing the best that we can. Identity recalibration. Who are you outside from your roles? That is a really good journaling question. And that is where hardcore shadow work starts. Is when you strip away being a mom, being an employee, being a spouse, being a sister, you know, being a sibling, and just who are you? Who are you? What do you like? And maybe I should do a whole journal about that. Like, who are you? Strip away all that bullshit and, you know, really ask yourself, what are you? And if you are realizing that maybe you're not doing enough for you, then maybe that's your first step. Start saying no more to others and yes more to yourself. And be okay with doing that. That's hard. That's hard for people. That's really, really hard to say, no, I won't do that. And you don't have to do it all the time. And no can come with conditions. You can say, no, I won't do this, but because I'm depleted. Or no, when I'm tired, I'm not going to do this. Or no, at the end on weekends, I'm not going to do this. Or when I'm working, I'm not going to do this. Or when I'm with the kids, I'm not going to do this. So you have to set realistic boundaries with yourself and reintroduce joy that isn't productivity based. I'm going to read that again because I'm not quite understanding. Reintroducing joy that isn't productivity based. I guess I have a hard time with that because a lot of things that I do, like, that are productive, like if I clean a closet, oh my God, that's just like, that brings me joy. You know, it's declutter. It's giving away something. It's making more room in my closet. So I look at the deeper part of, you know, of productivity. You know, like if I'm in my craft room, I want to be productive. I want to make stuff. And I make stuff because I'm going to sell it. Not that I'm making tons of money doing it, but it's therapy for me to make stuff, to create. That is my out. That's how I heal on a daily basis, is by creating something. So that, I think, is just going to I'm going to have to leave that one to you guys. And you got to find out, you know, I guess you have to find a balance in a joy that's productivity based. I'm going to leave that one, okay? Because I'm not sure I can say that, you know, being productive isn't joyful. Because a lot of things that I do, I don't do it just because I can't sit still. I mean, it is sometimes, but I'm learning to sit stiller, longer, more. Adjusting your pace and expectations. So when we talk about that, it's basically when you set expectations on yourself or on others, you're capping off their potential, is what I learned. And if you kind of have the attitude of, like, you know, there's like no limit of what we can do, and then something actually really cool happens that you didn't manifest and that you didn't expect, and you left it out of that lack mindset, it somehow, even though whatever happened wasn't like profound and it like really wowed, but because you didn't expect it to happen and you didn't like manifest to happen and it happened, it's a surprise. And for me, I'm just like really wowed by surprises. I mean, I just get so excited and so ramped up by surprises. Like anything, you know, like, oh my God, like a surprise rainbow, or I don't know, just any kind of like something in the mail, or like a coupon, a free. I just love things that I did not see coming, because I think what happened I have lived my life in such fight or flight, with always scanning and expecting things to happen. So now I really appreciate the things that I don't scan and I don't expect. I really appreciate like those little things that happen just out of the blue. Okay, now we're to the part about intuitive pathways. So for me, going through like this last year of being separated, I really chose to like regulate. I know I needed to like regulate my nervous system. And by being in my own space, all by me and just my dog, I realized what was actually mine and what was actually others, specifically Travis's. And he vouched for that too. He was like, yeah, I mean, he's like, I could definitely, when we separated, like it felt very different. And so I regulated my nervous system by separating our energies and getting back to, you know, ground zero. And then it was realizing, okay, now that I've neutralized the energy, now what do I need like to work on? And what I kind of did in the beginning is I was so lonely and I had so much anxiety from just all the new things that I was going through with like him being gone, cooking by myself, sleeping by myself, getting up in the morning, not talking to anybody, not texting him because we were doing no contact in the beginning. And so there was all these changes and all these like losses, I call them. They weren't really losses because like I gained so much from us not being together. For the good, you know, for the good, all for the good. And so what I realized is I needed to go through that experience in order to heal whatever was there that I couldn't heal with him being here. And the more that we reconnect in our union, because we are back together, we talk about some of this stuff and some of their memories. And as we dive deeper into our spiritual faith lifestyle, we go, oh my gosh, like, do you regret this at all? And I'm like, no, like, I know that at that time, this is what we needed to do. Like, God was telling me, if you don't get out, like, you will end up getting divorced and there will be no getting back together. And for a while, we kind of went that route, you know, we did file. But then after like that dust settled, we're like, you know what? That doesn't feel right. That does not feel right in my body. But we sat in it, you know, because you get like a grace period. So we sat with that grace period. And I understand now why the state of Wisconsin gives you that grace period, because a lot can happen in those 120 days. And I think that separation gets a really bad rap. I think if you use separation, and use that 120 days, the way that it's designed to, somebody came up with that for a reason. Okay, because Minnesota doesn't do it. You want to get divorced? You're divorced whenever they can get you in the court. And if you do it out of court, you can be divorced in 2 weeks. I know for a fact I have someone that got divorced that quick, and they were from Minnesota. So I think somebody is getting it right when they thought of that idea. So my intuitive pathways for me is when I said that I was in burnout spiritually, after I started healing the stuff that I needed to heal and dealing with some stuff. And after I stopped, like, because I like I said, I was lonely and I was bored and I needed to like be productive. I think I was really not allowing myself to feel the things I needed to feel, because I was just like, I'm gonna craft every day at night. I'm gonna just stay busy. I'm gonna like keep busy. And I think I was too busy. I allowed myself to be too busy, that I sabotaged that healing process. And when I finally was like took a break, because I was starting to get like craft burnout, you know, you wouldn't think that it was, but like I was getting kind of like craft burnout, where it was like, okay, I've been making crafts, like, and now it's just like, okay, now I'm like not enjoying it. So when I stopped for a moment and I gave myself like a craft timeout, I realized that there was some things that I wasn't processing. And so once I started to process, then I started to heal. And once I started to heal and realize some of the things needed changing, then that's when like my intuition kind of like ramped up again. And it was just, I couldn't channel fast enough. I couldn't channel enough. And, you know, I had to just like get it out because it was just reproducing, and it was just coming up. And sometimes it was just word vomit. I wish I would have recorded a lot more of my channeling, because there was some really, really, really good ones. But at the time, you know, I realize now that if I didn't have that idea to record it, then it wasn't meant to be recorded. It was for me. It was for me only, for my purpose only. So that is what I mean by intuitive pathways. And if you read the post, it talks about how we always have intuition, you know, inside us. We were born with it because we are from the divine and we are all connected. And so if you think you don't have intuition, or you think you've lost it, you haven't lost it. It's just something else is more important that needs more attention. You always have your intuition. Even through all this, I still did not give up on my intuition. Was it there the way I wanted it to be? No. Was it there the way that it should have been? Yeah, more than likely. You know, and I think my body was so in fight or flight at that time that, you know, my intuition knew, my body knew, the universe knew, like, you know what, we don't want to confuse her because she's so paranoid right now. Like, is she even going to believe that it's her intuition? So sometimes when you're in stress and you're asking, you know, your higher self and your God and your guides, you know, like, please give me the answers. If you're in a fight or flight or panic mode and that's your go-to, I have learned that sometimes it takes, you can ask the question, but don't be discouraged if you don't get the answer like you normally would if you were in a calm state. So a lot of the times I would get the answer to my question. If I was questioning something in a panic state of mind, I would get it after I had regulated and after I had calmed down. So my intuitive pathways opened up when I got my parasympathetic nervous system regulated. And now I feel more confident with my messages that I've been getting intuitively. And so we're over an hour, but I want to pull a card. So Spirit, Universe, let's pull a card and just a card. And we'll just talk about whether it has anything to do with mental burnout. If you have any questions about mental burnout or about the intuitive pathways, about anything that we discussed here tonight or that I shared with you, do not hesitate to reach out. I am not a counselor. I'm not a doctor, but what I have told you tonight is all truth that I have experienced. I speak from the raw, hard, brutal truth of what I have experienced. I don't sugarcoat it. I don't fluff it. I don't make it sound better or worse to get your attention. I just say it the way I have witnessed it. Okay, so let's pull a card from this deck. I'll read from the book and then I'll say goodnight. Balance. Oh wow, this is such a cool card because it goes with a lot of what we were talking about, is getting it balanced. You know, balancing the yeses and the nos, and the parasympathetic nervous system, and your vagus, and, you know, your masculine and your feminine, and everything is in balance. And sometimes it's really hard to find that balance because we don't know what needs balancing. And another good way of trying to find what needs balancing is start asking, use the journal, use the cards, start asking yourself, really listen to your body. That's when I finally got my nervous system regulated. I had so much more intuition in my body. And I could feel more intuition through my body. And I could just feel like, okay, is this good for me? And I actually do the sway test. I do that a lot. I can tell you more about that. It's through muscle testing. But if you set your yeses and nos and you ask yourself, okay, like show me no. So like my no is when I tip backwards. I'm standing and I ask a question. My no is backwards and then my yes is forward. So if I'm asking a question, I'm going to use my body. I'm going to listen to my body. If I start to sway one way or the other, that is my answer and I go with it. And so far it has not failed me. So so I've been listening a lot more to how my body feels and use my body to kind of guide me into making some decisions. Sometimes it's hard to listen to my body when I'm in a fight or flight. So at that point, I know that I need to regulate my body. I need to just pause and get my body regulated before I really find out what I need in that moment. And in that moment, it's to get regulated. It's to bring everything back to center, because we don't want to be elevated. We don't want our cortisol to be elevated that often, because our bodies are not designed to be in that. Our bodies are designed to be centered and to feel, good for the most part, And so once you can get your body regulated, that is your ground zero. That's your base. And then once things start happening, then you can kind of gauge where it's like, oh, I'm kind of tilted this way, and this is starting to feel this is icky and sketchy. So I don't like what's going on in my life or this with this person or with this situation. So I'm going to, ask about it and see if this needs, if it needs to be, I could go on more, but listen to your body, because it will tell you a lot more than up here. Let's read from the book. The number is 3. Everything in this world needs balance to survive. We need to breathe in and we need to breathe out. Your body needs time to refuel and time to digest. That's that parasympathetic. The body needs activity and time to rest. We need the day and the night. We need the rain and the sun, the wind and the calm. The winter and the summer, we need the inside and the outside. We need to connect with others and to be alone. We need masculine and feminine energies, to speak and to listen, to see and to not know. Waves crashing in and waves carried out. We need to receive from others and give back to the world. We need pleasure and pain, heartache and romance, friends and foes, shifting and releasing, work and play, taking the good with the bad, the ups and the downs, the yeses and the nos, the smiles and the frowns. I wrote that. Embrace and appreciate every situation in life. There is a lesson to be learned and an opportunity for growth. Well, if that isn't the best message to end our reading with tonight. So, thank you all for accepting the invites. Like I said, 640 members on here. Please share the information, get it out there. And I am at Crush Nutrition tomorrow night for the Galentine's Day. It's from 4 to 7. I will be selling, I'm just going to give you guys a little sneak peek. I know I'm done, but I'm just going to give you a little sneak peek of these pretty little things. I don't even know what they're called. It's like a bracelet, but there's also like a keychain on it. So you can use it as a bracelet, or you can, you know, wear it. You can put keys on it, and then this does remove. And then, like, here's a coffee one. Look at, these are the silicone beads, so they don't break. And then, like, you can take this off. So, like, okay, so you're, like, shopping and you have your keys here or whatever. And then, like, you can take it off. You can take that off. I think they're cool. I think they're, like, a fun little chunky little bracelet. A wristlet. And then look at this one. It's got, like, a Coca-Cola. I found these on Temu. I found the beads. I put all them together my own way. So, but the beads I found on Temu. And then I've got these little zipper pulls. And I have all the rest of my stuff that I'm going to sell, like the what else? I have the wish jars. I've got the oracle card deck. I'm going to be putting together the journal bundle. I've got some journals, some other journals, the handmade journals. I've got the cord cutting kits, the energy protection kits. Let's see what else. I've got the wish jars. I said that. I've got some salt jars. Just come and check it out. And everybody that comes, everybody that visits, they get a little freebie, and then a card pulled. All right. It's for Valentine's Day. So come on out, get out of your pajamas. I don't care. Come in your pajamas if you want. I could give two shits. But just come. Come and check it out. There's going to be other vendors there. I think there's 5 other vendors at Crush Nutrition. And then a lot of them, Bloomer Floral will be open. And I think there's some other places on that strip there that will also be open. So I thank you all for watching. I thank you all for being on the group. I thank you all for taking this time whenever you do watch it. Please comment on here. Anytime that you do watch it, if you do replay, reach out to me if you have any questions or concerns or comments on anything I said. I'm here to help, all right? Bye, guys. Thanks for watching. See you later.